Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in for our session on mindfulness today. Before we start, I'd like to share a few guidelines so that we can ensure a smooth webinar. So we'd request you all to please mute yourselves and also request you to switch off your cameras during the course of the presentation. Also, if there are any questions, which will be during the latter half of the presentation, please do type in your questions to the organizers only and type the questions in the chat box. You may also mention your name and company along with your question. I will now pass on to Payal Kanwar, our Director General, who will do the welcome and introduction. Over to you, Payal.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Could I just request everybody to keep themselves on mute, please? I think we have a bit of disturbance coming in. Yeah. Okay. Please welcome Gail Thomas for today's session on mindfulness. Before I present Gail, I would just like to say that these have been challenging times for everyone across the globe, and I think that many of us were not prepared on how to deal with this challenging time. Many people around us have also used this as an opportunity and have taken it positively to go deep within, to introspect, and also to look at ways to reconnect. So I think that today's session is very, very apt for the current times. I'm very pleased personally to welcome Gail with us. I met her close to 2 years ago, and we've organized some great sessions as a part of her venture called When Women Gather, which is an excellent platform and a support group for women. Just a few words about Gail. She's a holistic coach, teacher, and speaker with experience in helping a diverse range of people. She taught yoga and meditation in London for 14 years to different groups, from challenged teenagers to children with special needs, executives to athletes. She's also been practicing mindfulness and meditation for the past 20 years and considers meditation practice to be at the core of her happiness. So thank you very much, Gail, for being with us. And I'd now like to pass over to you. Thank you.
Hi, thank you, Payal. I hope that you can all see and hear me now very well. Good morning, everyone. So welcome to this webinar on mindfulness for fear and anxiety. And as Payal mentioned, now is a very apt time to have such a webinar. Goodness me, we've had a tumultuous few months. Thank you, Payal, and to the team at the IFCCI for enabling this session to happen, because actually I think it's very important that we have a session like this at this time. Just a couple of requests before we start, and I know it's been mentioned already, but please keep your mics on mute and kindly keep your cameras off. And if you do have any questions that come up throughout the presentation, just post them to the organizers in the chat box, and at the end of the session we'll have a Q&A session, okay? So there'll be plenty of time to answer questions at the end. So I'd really love to see all your faces, but it's better to have your cameras off, and I imagine that you're sitting there looking very relaxed and with a smile on your face. But I hope you can hear and see me clearly. If there are any problems at any point, just let the organisers know. So why don't we start with some mindfulness. Let's go straight into a mindfulness session to feel aware in this present moment. So if I can ask you all to get comfortable wherever you're sitting and close your eyes. What I will do is I'll turn my camera off for 3 minutes. I'll put it on at the end afterwards, but I want to emphasize the words that I say. So I'll switch my camera off now. So everybody close your eyes and we'll do a quick 3-minute mindfulness breathing exercise. And this is something that's very simple that you'll be able to take away with you and do on your own. So as you sit comfortably in your chair, allow your shoulders to relax, the muscles in the back of your neck to release, And allow the jaw to feel soft and heavy and the tongue to feel relaxed. Relax your temples and relax your scalp. And now bring the focus of your awareness to your inner experience. And notice what is happening in your thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations. Describe to yourself what you're feeling, acknowledging and identifying, putting your inner experience into words. Now, gently redirect your full attention to your breath. Follow your breath all the way in and all the way out. Stay with the breath, following all the way in and all the way out. And now gently allow your attention to expand to your whole body, especially to any sense of discomfort, tension, or resistance. If you do notice any discomfort, direct the breath to that part of the body. And now, as best you can, bring this expanded awareness to the next moments throughout this webinar and for the rest of your day. You may gently open your eyes, and I'm back in the room with you. So that was just a very short mindfulness practice, which just really meant that you needed to sit comfortably, close your eyes, and become aware of your inner experience. And then become aware of the breath, and then expand your awareness from the breath to the whole body. Very simple 3-step process. So let's move on. We've got a couple more mindfulness exercises coming up. But let's talk a little bit about who I am. I'm a holistic coach, as Pyle mentioned, and I have a speciality with working with transformation, self-transformation with people, and spirituality. And I'm very passionate about this topic, mindfulness and meditation. And I believe that this is the paramount importance right now in where we are in this period of time that we're at. I don't think there's actually anything more important than learning to develop these faculties right now. Why this topic right now? Because there has been so much fear bandied about in the last few months. All you have to do is put on the news, and we're hearing an ever-changing narrative, and we're probably belonging to several WhatsApp groups. I know I'm a member of a couple where, you know, there are huge groups involved, and all the time there are, you know, messages warning of places on lockdown or quarantine, or information or videos coming in of people suffering somewhere else in the world economically. And it's very hard to keep this all in perspective. And when you're caught up in a whirlwind or storm of fear, it's very hard to keep an anchor into what's real. And actually, what is real comes from being still. And you get that stillness from mindfulness and meditation. So that's why this topic is great right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and I'll launch into a presentation. And while we're in that presentation, I'll go through a couple more mindfulness exercises with you. Okay, so do let me know if you cannot see the screen, or let one of the organisers know. All right, so here is our Mindfulness for Anxiety and Fear presentation. What is mindfulness? So mindfulness is a process that leads to a mental state characterized by non-judgmental awareness of the present experiences, such as sensations, thoughts, bodily states, and the environment. The brief exercise we just did brought you such awareness to your bodily states. It enables us to distance ourselves from our thoughts and feelings without labeling them as good or bad. So there is some detachment from the thoughts that we have. Mindfulness teaches us how to respond to stress with awareness of what is happening in the present moment, rather than simply acting instinctively, unaware of what emotions or motives may be driving that decision. And so by teaching awareness for one's physical and mental state in the moment, mindfulness allows for more adaptive reactions to difficult situations. So a mindful person is a person that is reflective rather than reactive. They focus on the present moment. How can this faculty be trained? Mindfulness practices engage various cognitive skills, including the ability to focus and sustain attention, which in itself requires several other interacting attentional subfunctions. There's increasing behavioral and neuroscientific evidence that mindfulness practice improves these cognitive functions and associated neural processes, more so than other cognitive training programs. The effects of mindfulness and meditation appear to generalize to other cognitive tasks, as these attentional functions have been linked to age-related cognitive decline. So now there's growing interest in the question of whether meditation and mindfulness can actually slow down and prevent such aging decline. Benefits of mindfulness. Well, first and foremost, and I think we just glimpsed that with the exercise we did, you get greater body awareness. Body awareness is the ability to notice subtle sensations in the body, and self-report findings that indicate mindfulness leads to greater perceptions of body awareness in general. So even when you're out, you have a feeling of a headache coming on before it's fully there, or something that you've eaten that didn't quite agree with your body before you manifest any big symptoms. Being aware of your body is also being able to be aware of your emotional state. So by being aware of your emotional state, you can help to regulate your emotions. You're able to get more focused attention, more prolonged focused attention. So we see a bigger increase in numbers of people suffering with ADD or ADHD, or especially amongst kids. And mindfulness is actually good to train for focused attention and longer attention spans. Self-perception. So mindfulness can also bring a greater sense of self-perception. It can also help to bring about change of one's perspective of oneself. Buddhist psychology teaches that the self is not permanent and static, but rather made up of ongoing mental events. So when you take time to be still, you tend to develop the faculties to observe that nothing is really permanent and continually changing, and just a series of experiences of where you have focused attention. I read in a study that 2 months of mindfulness meditation practices have been shown to increase self-esteem and self-acceptance. Okay, mindfulness has a benefit of improving physical health. I think that's pretty obvious. If you spend more time being mindful or in meditation, you just experience more deeper relaxation, giving your nervous system a chance to recalibrate and rest. It's also been shown to produce other health benefits, such as lowering blood pressure and cortisol levels, which is a stress hormone, cortisol. With improved physical health, you'll have an improved immune system, which has been a hot topic throughout the last few months. So When you have better physical health, you're better equipped to manage day-to-day stresses and stressors on the body. You'll have more ease and spaciousness in daily life. And you'll find that the more still you become, which comes from taking more time out to be mindful or meditate, you become more receptive to your own inner voice, receptive to the feelings of others, and just receptive to the things you see and hear around you without getting caught up with them, with a level of detachment. Greater sensitivity. So again, you'll have the sensitivity enhanced towards your own mind and the emotional state that you're in and your body, and to loved ones and to people around you. And what also comes with having more mindfulness in your life is a greater emotional positivity and robustness. Okay, so how do fear and anxiety develop? Well, what we have here is one of my drawings that I did for my newsletter back in April. And it was the hot topic that COVID came from a bat. So this is why I sketched this out and put it on my newsletter. Just one little bat put everyone under this kind of house arrest. We've all been inside and struggling to come to terms with a changing narrative. And of course, we all had the news on cycle. Well, I'm guessing the majority of you did. So the fear and anxiety came courtesy of Fox and all the news channels. Okay, so both fear and anxiety produce the same stress response, actually. So they do differ, but they produce the same stress response. Muscle tension, increased heart rate, and shortness of breath mark the most significant physiological symptoms associated with response to a perceived danger. And these bodily changes result with the fight or flight stress response, which you've probably all heard of. It's a primitive and evolutionary stress response we have in our body, which, you know, originally was designed to make us run very fast from a tiger if we came face to face with the tiger in the jungle. And it would redirect all the blood and energy in our body to the limbs and things that needed to respond fast in a direct stress situation. But now in modern day life, many of us are living with a continued heightened stress response going on in our body, which is going to exacerbate our immune system. Right, so the actual difference. So anxiety here is defined, according to psychiatrists Sadek and Ruiz, anxiety is a diffuse, unpleasant, vague sense of apprehension. Well, that sounds very unpleasant. It's often a response to an imprecise or unknown threat. For example, imagine you're walking down a dark street. You don't see a man with a gun or a tiger face to face, but you feel uneasy and you have a few butterflies in your stomach. So it's nothing that you can see directly as a direct threat to you, but it's a perception. Fear, on the other hand, fear is an emotional response to a known or definite threat. So this is the thing where you come face to face with the tiger, or if you are walking down a dark street, someone points a gun at you and says this is a stick up, then you're likely to experience a fear response. The danger is real and definite and immediate. There's a clear and present object of the fear. But as I mentioned, fear and anxiety, they actually produce the same response in the body. So this isn't good for us overall. This is why we need mindfulness in our life. Presentation seems to be sticking. Just bear with me. That's it. Okay. Right. So real versus imagined danger. So here I've done a very crude sketch of a storm and the eye of the storm, and I'm suggesting you stay at the eye of the storm. So both fear and anxiety, just to reiterate, they produce the same stress response. Although the focus of the response is different, like real or imagined, they're so interrelated that when faced with a fear, for example, people will still experience the same reaction. So fear causes anxiety and anxiety causes fear. And both of these are associated with many mental health conditions. These feelings are most often linked to anxiety disorders such as panic attacks or specific phobias, agoraphobia, social anxiety disorder. And I do want to say at this point, if fear and anxiety are something that are becoming unmanageable in your life, then you should see a doctor. Okay, so let's try another mindfulness practice to manage anxiety. So I'd ask you now to just rejig yourself in your chair and get comfortable as we move into a mindfulness practice, visualizing stress as a storm. And this will take about 10 minutes, and then we'll pause for about a minute and we'll launch straight into another one. But these practices you'll be able to do at home. So these are well-known mindfulness practices which you'll be able to use. This specific one is to manage anxiety and fear. So everybody close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths. And this session is here to help you through high amounts of stress. When we are presented with situations in our life that are very high stress, it seems impossible to get past the stressful feelings to see clearly. The best way to tackle high stress situations, therefore, is through full and conscious breathing. When we're not present in our bodies, our thoughts can carry us away, making stressful situations almost debilitating. So we get caught in the storm, the chaos, and the whirling around. What I'm suggesting here in this mindfulness exercise is we stay centered at the eye of the storm. Luckily, when we have awareness to focus on our breath and body, we can bring ourselves back into the present moment, bringing us clarity. So let's honor our breath now and how it brings us to the present moment with eyes closed by taking 5 significant and purposeful breaths. I will lead you through them. Number 1, fully inhale, expanding your belly and chest as much as you can and holding it for a moment. And exhale, feeling a wave of relaxation sweep over you. Number 2, inhale, filling your entire breathing system with fresh oxygen. Hold it. And exhale, the wave of relaxation gently sweeping over you. Inhale, number 3, so that you're brimming now, full of air. Holding it, soaking in oxygen. And exhale. Your body relaxes in different areas without any effort. Number 4, fully inhale. Feeling these breaths purifying your entire body. Holding it. Exhale. Just notice how you are feeling. And number 5, a beautiful breath coming in. Hold it. Feeling invigorated from oxygen. And exhale. Allowing relaxation to sweep over you. Take note of how you feel at this very moment. You now have an abundance of oxygen. And this is how we are created to feel. Breathing deeply and fully is an expression of self-compassion. Let the flow of your breath become natural and notice how abundance feels. Good. Now, visualize yourself standing in a big field. Visualize yourself standing in a big field and no one else is around. Everything is calm and peaceful. And you are surrounded by nature. Sit down in this meadow. Sit down in this meadow and look around, noticing the beauty all around you. You are fully relaxed. In the distance, you see some dark clouds closing in as the sky grows a little darker. You see that a small storm is forming and you feel some raindrops falling down. Imagine that this storm is your stress. It could be a mild stress with just some rain and a little wind, or it could be a very high stress with extremely strong winds and a very heavy rain pouring down. In this visual, we're going to face a very strong and powerful storm to make ourselves stronger within. So as you feel the storm getting even stronger and the wind is blowing harder and harder, you sit there in the meadow. You sit there in the meadow, completely unfazed by it. The storm cannot hurt you here. You have a choice to react to this storm with fear or with love and compassion, knowing that this storm is harmless in this visualization you are creating. Stress is our reaction to fear, worry, and even high demands. Whether the fear is real or not, we have to learn the proper reaction to all of these things. Sometimes you can't help it, and stress will take over in a matter of seconds, and we must handle it properly or it will handle us. Just like sitting through the storm in the field, stress cannot harm you if you know that it simply passes you by. What matters is your own reaction to the events around you. Really embrace the stress now and fully let exist without fighting it. You see this storm of stress in front of you is very dark as the storm clouds get thicker, raining down with fury. You decide to get up from where you were sitting and slowly start walking towards it. Slowly start walking towards it without fear nor worry. Just pure confidence that you are safe and in control. You get closer and closer as the storm draws near and the wind blows with tremendous speed. The winds and rains have no effect on you. It is really easy for you to step forward and only your clothes are flopping around. As you look forward, you see the eye of the storm, and around that eye, the winds and the rain are extremely powerful and strong, yet you have zero worry as you step inside this eye. You are standing now inside this center, and everything is calm and peaceful here. You look around from within the eye of the storm and can see all the chaos around you. But inside, here it's calm and cozy. This is your space, your safe spot. And so when the stress has fully taken over you, you have a choice to let it blow over without a fight, just sitting right in the middle of it. Realizing that it cannot hurt you here. Witness your body is the center, and any stress is just a storm surrounding you that comes and goes. You are in control and can always come back to your safe space. And now the storm is losing its power. Dying down now slowly. The rain is easing up, and it's now only drizzling. You see the clouds drifting away as the sky gets brighter. The sunlight peeks through the clouds as they pass by, then eventually bursts out with great intensity, shining a beautiful light all around you. Now you see birds coming out and start singing. You see butterflies and bees buzzing around the flowers that are blossoming now after the heavy rains. Everything is beautiful now. This moment represents you being in a beautiful state of mind, where stress had no control of you as it passed you by. Very good, everyone. Now we're going to take 3 nice deep breaths in, slowly bringing ourselves back into the rooms where we're sitting. 1 nice full breath of fresh energy. 2, breathing, taking in all that you learned here today. And 3, taking another helpful breath, allowing the memory of your strength through the storm to be present in your mind right now. Good. Use this session or technique whenever you find yourself in a high stress situation, and you'll be amazed, even if you don't remember word for word the way I've said it, how you can ride out the storm of stress, staying at the eye of the storm. So open your eyes, and we'll go into another short mindfulness practice. But first, I just want you to fully come back into the room. And if it feels right to you, I'd ask you to stand up and just shake your arms and legs. Just shake your body a little bit. If you don't want to stand up, just raise your arms and shake your arms quite vigorously. Bring some movement and normal ease of natural breath back to your body. Just get some movement and move your head from left to right. The next mindfulness session is much shorter, and it's a loving kindness meditation. A practice to accept yourself and face difficulties with self-compassion instead of self-criticism. And this is another valuable mindfulness exercise at a time like this. So when you feel ready to make yourself still and get back into a comfortable seated position, straighten your back this time as much as you can, but without making it uncomfortable for yourself. So be kind to yourselves. You want to be relaxed still. Rest your hands gently on your knees and close your eyes. Become aware of the body as you settle in and begin to relax again. As you become still, bring your attention to the breath, focusing all your attention here. You don't have to do anything special or regulated in any way. Just breathe naturally. Breathing in, recognizing this is my in-breath, and breathing out. This is my out-breath. We're not thinking about breathing, we are just feeling into the breath, noticing how our body expands and contracts at this time. Noticing if our breath feels deep or shallow. Follow the breath from the start of the inhalation all the way through to the end of the exhalation. And if your mind wanders, that's okay. Simply notice and bring it back to the breath. The breath here is your anchor. Come back to the breath over and over with compassion. And with every out breath, let your body become heavier and back into the relaxed state, sinking deeper and deeper into your chair, relaxing into this luxurious moment to yourself. Now, take a moment to check in with your emotional state. Just become aware of how you're feeling right now. Exploring your emotions and seeing if there's a sense of peacefulness or a sense of disturbance of any kind. Not judging your emotional state, just tuning in to how it feels in this moment. This is mindfulness. If you notice any emotions that feel stuck or tight, if there's any emotional disturbance or discomfort, spend a few moments just breathing into those areas, seeing if anything opens or softens. Now let's begin a practice where we explore forgiveness in an area where we may need to forgive ourselves. Reflecting on a time, some time ago in your life where you've let yourself down. Recalling a specific circumstance where you feel unforgiving to yourself. Spend a few moments exploring where you have been unable to accept yourself or unable to forgive yourself. Spend this time now. Something that's happened in the past. At some point, each of us has let ourselves down. So trust that whatever comes to mind is perfect to focus on in this moment. It could be a failure, a disappointment, a risk you didn't take, anything you can't let go of. Settle your mind on one scenario and now really get close in on that moment, how it all felt at that time. Really get close to it. Consider the ways you were unforgiving to yourself. Once you've decided on something specific, feel underneath what feels unforgivable. Feel underneath. Feel into the fear of what confusion or motivated bad action. Feel into your emotional state at that time, the one that lies underneath what feels unforgivable. Now, if you can, see if you can open to some empathy for that earlier version of you, some compassion for why you made that choice or took that action. Understanding it was likely one you felt you had to make at the time, or at least it was the best option in that moment. Breathe in and see if you can soften any barriers now you may have built. Barriers against yourself. Soften any knots. Any barriers or knots you are still holding, explore the idea what it would be like to stop beating yourself about what happened, whatever occurred. Imagine how it would feel to let yourself off the hook, to release yourself of blame, with the freedom of finally offering yourself forgiveness. What would it look like? What would it feel like? What would it taste like? Picture what it would be to leave the past in the past, appreciating all that you have learned since that time. Consider how it would feel to be able to move forward, free of regret, full of self-compassion for the you that made that choice, for the you who was deserving of forgiveness. Release whatever amount of blame is possible and open to self-forgiveness. If you feel unable to offer yourself this in this moment, see if you can simply offer yourself patience with the intention to forgive as soon as it is possible. Accept where you are, knowing forgiveness is actually a process. It happens in degrees and takes time. Breathe in and welcome what is true for you right now. Take 5 deep breaths. And when you're ready, come back into your room and open your eyes. Well done, everyone. I hope that you were able to stay with me on that. And I hope that you were able to feel some control with yourself and were able to bring yourself into a calm space. So, the conclusion. Well, actually, there are many practices that can bring mindfulness and mindfulness trainings, Tai Chi and yoga, Zen Buddhism, they're some of the things. And any activity actually where you feel absorbed, it could be painting, it could be singing, it could be playing an instrument, any of those that put you in the so-called flow state or a present moment where you are actually fully 100% in your mind right now, not dwelling on thoughts of the past or the future. And I think that I've made it clear, but meditation and mindfulness can really transform your life for the better. No joke. It's been an incredible thing in my life, and it continues to be as I grow and learn and manage my day-to-day life with work and being a parent. It's absolutely valuable for everyone. So I say to you, learning how to do these things on your own is essential. My wish would be for everyone everywhere to establish their own home practice where one's faculties can be developed with ease and over time and bring all these benefits into your lives. It's essential for this time. We are in a time, as we spoke about, where there is currently a lot of fear, but you know, there are many sources of news. And we need to be able to check in with our own sense of truth. And the way we check in is by closing our eyes and being in our present moment, and then we are more aligned with who we truly are and are more receptive and sensitive and all of the other benefits that will help us in our lifestyle and our quality of life. as I mentioned, this time of rapid change, now more than ever, these skills are important. We need to be able to listen more intuitively to our own inner wisdom. And if you are a parent, we need to be able to encourage our kids to listen to their own inner voice and their own intuition. I think that this is something to be mindful of, excuse the pun, with our kids, because, you know, they're growing up in a very different way to us. They're attached to screens, and so their present moment is very evasive, I'd say, for them. They're instant gratification lives, and we're hooked on our phones and addicted to the noises and the instant notifications that pop up from social media and things like that, and they're even more attuned to that. So I wonder when these kids are going to learn to develop their own skills to listen to their own inner wisdom, and it's needed. So I wish for everyone that the rest of this 2020, this roller coaster year, is one where we incorporate mindfulness and meditation practice into our lives, and we get more clarity, calm, and perspective. So if I didn't make it obvious, learn meditation and mindfulness wherever you can. There'll be some method for everyone. There's something for everyone. As I said, it can be Tai Chi, it can be direct mindfulness and meditation courses, and you know, they're very popular. There are YouTube videos, there are courses everywhere for these things, and then there are other activities like painting. If you want more information, you can, of course, email me. I'm info@gail-thomas.com, or you can visit the website. And I suggest that if you are, if you'd like to sign up for a free mindfulness practice exercise, it'll be one of the scripts of mindfulness sessions that I've done here today in the webinar. And I suggest that you leave your contact details in the chat box now to the organisers. And they can forward to you one of these mindfulness exercises for anxiety and fear. And there will be an online course for mindfulness and meditation coming up in collaboration with the Chamber here, and more details will come to you at a later date, but this will be something that you can learn remotely from your computer at home in the comfort of your own space. So if you're interested, please let the team know. And I will be teaching 8 powerful mindfulness and meditation practices on this course. So we'll announce the date soon. Thank you very much. And let's return. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, Gail. I think we do have time for some questions now, if any of the participants would like to address. So we request that you can type in your questions in the chat box, and we'll address them to Gail and she will respond.
Yes. Can you see me? Am I back in the room, or you still got my presentation up?
Yes, and the presentation is still on, but we can see you. Your video is on, but the presentation is also.
Okay, that's great. So let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah, I think there's somebody who's asked early morning. I don't know if you're trying to ask if these practices should be done early in the morning. I'm not too sure. So would you like to clarify? This is just to one of the participants. I think maybe you can address that, Gail.
Yes, yeah.
What is the ideal time to meditate?
Yeah, so should this be practiced early in the morning? I do get asked that a lot, actually. And you know what I say? Let's not be too precious and rigid about the rules for doing any kind of meditation or mindfulness. I think it's just really important to get the practice in. So be kind to yourself. Like, just let it fit into your day, whatever way it works best for you. So if you already have a lot going on in the morning, or if you're a bit sleepy in the morning, you may not feel it suits you to do it in the morning. For me personally, I actually rarely do it in the morning. I do it sort of mid-afternoon, early evening, or before I go to bed. Everybody will have a time of day where they feel it's good for them. I mean, for me personally, I just like to get up and get on with mental activities and emails and things in the morning. So I'm in a bit of a rush that end of the day. I would just urge you to do it, even if it's for 5 minutes and you do 5 minutes every day. I just really want you to get started and start in whatever way you can, by any means necessary. And then if you have problems, contact me or make a note, keep a journal, but just make it easy. The key here is to make it fun and easy. If you make it arduous, it's not going to be a practice or a routine that embeds into your life. And really, this is what we really want. So it's, like when we have kids, we teach them how to clean their teeth morning and night. You embed the skill straight away, and then you can refine how they brush their teeth, etc., etc. You can come back and refine the methods and the strategies, and there are hundreds of different ways to be mindful and meditate, but start with whatever calls you, whatever seems attractive or appeals to you, and whatever time of day works best for you.
Okay, so Gail, we have another question here, and this question is from Gayatri, and she's asking, how can we get little children to practice these exercises in the simplest way?
Yeah, excellent question, Gayatri. It depends on the age, of course, but some years ago in London, I used to teach meditation. It was more kind of breath awareness, actually, for very small kids under 10 years old. And you see a lot of kids, they don't actually breathe in the correct way. When we're all born, we do natural diaphragmatic breathing, but somewhere along the line, kids imitate parents, and parents are breathing in shallow or reversed ways. So generally, when you breathe in, your belly's supposed to go out. When you breathe out, your belly's supposed to go in. But actually, a lot of kids do the other way. So when they breathe in, their belly goes in, and when they breathe out, their belly goes out. So it's reversed, and that's learnt or picked up from somewhere in their environment. And just getting kids to breathe the right way is actually a mindfulness exercise. I did also used to do this with Down syndrome children, and help by pushing in their belly when they breathed out. But what I suggest you do if you have young kids, and it's something that used to work well for me, is these squeezy plastic ducks that kids have that float in the bath. They're usually yellow, these squeezy plastic ducks. I had an assortment of these toys. I carried a bag. Some were little plastic elephants, some were giraffes, some were ducks. But I would lay one of these squeaky plastic bath toys, tell the child to lay on the floor, face up, laying down on the floor, and put this squeaky duck on their tummy, actually. And then I would say, let this duck go for a ride. So it's up and down on the sea. So your belly is the ocean, and they're going to go for a ride on the ocean. So when you breathe in, your belly goes up, it fills with air, and when you breathe out, the belly goes down and the duck goes down. So they're so focused on the movement of this duck going up and down and what's happening. So they're actually learning the schema, if you like, for breathing in is connected with full belly, breathing out is connected with depressed belly. So that is actually a good mindfulness technique for young children below the age of 10. Storytelling is a good way for kids above the age of 10, or simple breath awareness exercises. Anything that we've done here. The Eye of the Storm is a good one, the one that we just did in the middle. And the first one, the 3-minute breathing exercise, which was just becoming aware of the internal environment, aware of feelings and sensations in the body, and then becoming aware of the breath, and then expanding the awareness to the whole body. There are lots of books, there are YouTube videos that kids can listen to. There are, things on iTunes that kids can listen to before bed. And there is that Calm app. I don't know if you're aware of that. There's an app you can buy on your phone. There are lots of apps actually, but the Calm app has lots of bedtime stories for kids as well. Great question.
Thank you, Gail. We have a question from Mr. Shrikant Lonikar. He's the CHRO from Puerto Rico. So he says, we are so much conditioned to depend on experts and their advice about situations that are difficult to comprehend. Is there a specific meditation or practice of mindfulness that can help people develop greater self-belief and take charge of their own destiny?
Yes. So basically the ones, that's another excellent question. The exercises we did today, what I stress here is get going with it and embed this as a habit in your life. So once you're running off and away with it, you are in control, right? You are in control of your truth. So the more you start dwelling in this space of truth with your eyes closed, the more you're tapping into your higher non-physical self. And there is a, you know, we talk about big questions of consciousness here, but this is what it's about. Consciousness is a far bigger thing than what is encapsulated in our body. So it's not that there is one specific mindfulness or meditation technique that I would prescribe and say this is better than the rest, because there are so many out there, but you need to discern what feels right. Always check in with your feeling, what feels right to you, what seems easy to start with. One path, easy and fun. 2 keywords, easy and fun, because you want to start and you want to stick with it. And it's like the most important skill as an adult, if you haven't got it in your life, that we all need to have. I can't stress that enough. We all need to have this in our life. We all need to learn to listen to our own inner voice. It doesn't mean that we shut out all the other voices, but we're going to need more discernment. You know, we are bombarded with information, and any mindfulness, if you take one of the 3 that we did today, for example, sitting in the eye of the storm, that gives you a sense of empowerment because you're watching a storm, a stress storm happen around you, and you're at the eye of the storm and you are aware that you are sitting there still with equanimity. This is a good one for empowerment and confidence. And then we did the loving kindness meditation afterwards on forgiving yourself. So when you're forgiving to yourself, it's a very healing and empowering exercise. It's actually very profound exercise, this one. Meditating and mindfulness every day, they bring you a stronger sense of self. And when you have a stronger sense of self, you have a stronger voice, and a stronger internal voice. Don't go left, go right. Don't say yes in this email, say no, or this isn't right for me, or no, you are asking too much of me. You become more in touch with your emotional space, internal space, and what is more congruent and in alignment with who you really are. And then you're able to draw better boundaries in life. You don't overexert yourself because you're aware of your physical being, your mental being. You know when to say no because you're tired. You know when best is a good time for you to work, when it's best to sit down and listen to your children, when it's best to plan things for your future. You'll know what is best to eat. All these senses, this added sense develops over time the more you meditate. And I would then say to you on that note, don't say, oh, I must get meditating, I'm going to sit for half an hour today, because what will happen is, if you're not already established in your practice, you'll sit there for half an hour, your mind will wander, you'll get frustrated with yourself, which you won't need to do, and you don't ever need to do that. And then you'll give up, you won't do it tomorrow. And I really want you to just do it. So, think of it like a child cleaning their teeth. Like, okay, so you're really tired. I have these kind of discussions with my youngest daughter who says, oh, Mummy, I'm too tired to clean my teeth tonight. And I said, just go in there and do it. Don't even think about it. Just do it. Sometimes you don't clean your teeth for as long as you ought or do it the right way, but you did it. You got in the bathroom and you did it. It's like remembering to drink water. Just sit down for 5 minutes, not 5 minutes, 6 times a day. Don't put the added pressure. We've already got pressure on ourselves with so many things, including fitness and etc. So be kind. under-promise to yourself. So you may want to sit and do 30 minutes every day and be this new person that you want to be with meditation in your life, but go easy, make it fun and easy and under-promise. So do less time than you want, so you never feel that you've failed. Hope that makes sense.
Yes, Gail, thank you. We have another question from Ganesh Jagtap. He's from RMO Fasteners, and he asks, does this mindfulness practice, one second, does the mindfulness practice control our subconscious mind? That's what he'd like to know.
Oh, that's a very good question. Mindfulness practice doesn't control the subconscious mind. What the mindfulness practice does is it gives you a lens to your subconsciousness. So the more still you are, what can I use to describe this? So say your subconsciousness is a channel, okay? It's a channel of space and awareness and consciousness. Your mind at the top is like a turning fan, and the thoughts of your mind, the vicissitudes of your mind, the thoughts about what you're going to have for dinner, what you should have said, must remember to take that, this, work stuff, that's a busy chattering mind, okay? When you still the mind, the fan stops and it allows aperture, if you like. The spokes of the fan stop, the twirling mind. You get this aperture where the two are in alignment and actually feed. So it's like downloading information from your subconscious or superconsciousness, either way you want to look at it. And this is what is really a channeling state. And by channeling state, I don't mean any kind of hocus pocus thing by it. I mean, it used to be used that way, channeling state, for people, you know, in seances and things like that. But really, a channeling state is nothing extraordinary. It's just having a still mind where things are able to drop into your mind. Inspiration comes, it kind of falls into your lap, and you can take then inspired action, which usually tends to be more successful. But stilling the mind, which is what you get in mindfulness sessions, allows you to have your super consciousness or your subconscious communicate to you. So, I mean, again, this is another great benefit of mindfulness and meditation. Thank you. That was a great question.
Yeah, thanks, Gail. There's also another question from Anand, and Anand asks, are these mindfulness exercises also linked to the diet?
Well, what you'll find over time is if you are successful in embedding mindfulness practices into your life, that you'll become more sensitive to what you eat, both mentally, psychically, in terms of your energy, and physiologically. So and in turn, it's kind of like a chicken and egg situation. The more you become aware, the more you're likely to be attracted to things that are good for you, rather than the foods that make you feel heavy, lethargic, or unwell. Yeah. Thank you, Anand.
And we have a question from Mr. Ajay Kant Ruya, and he asks, what's the difference if you're practicing mindfulness with legs folded, crossed, versus sitting on a chair?
So the legs folded situation is the traditional way, which was, used in yoga and meditation and transcribed in the Vedic texts, like the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, where it was said that it's actually favorable to sit in a cross-legged position. The reason being is so you can get your spine very erect. So the chakras of the spine, which is like an electric circuit board, if you like, are easily triggered, and there's a kind of straight and clear pathway for you to receive information, almost if you think about the channeling situation where I was talking about. Having said that, let's not tie ourselves up in knots. Excuse the other yoga partner being in the lotus position. Let's not get tied up in knots about the way you sit, because let's face it, in this day and age, especially Europeans, we're all used to sitting in chairs. Modern life, actually, we're all kind of chair-based, so our hips aren't open. And what happens is when you try to meditate in a cross-leg position and your hips aren't so open, is your back's going to ache after 1 or 2 minutes. Or if you've got weak knees or arthritic knees or ankles, you're going to get a pain and it's going to stop your ability to be present. So you want to, first and foremost, the priority is getting yourself in the present moment. So over opening your hips, over having a straight back. So, you know, someone laying on their deathbed, you're not going to tell them to sit up and be in lotus position so they can be mindful while they pass from living to beyond. Being mindful in whatever state or where your body is fine. And trust me, I've worked with lots of young adults with cerebral palsy and children that are lifted out of wheelchairs, supportive contraptions to support their bodies, and they're never going to sit upright by themselves, and they're never going to be able to sit in a cross-leg position. But it doesn't mean they can't be enlightened or they're not already enlightened. So that's secondary. Your position is secondary. If you really want to be, you know, go down a purist route for it, then you will at some point be looking at, you know, being like a yogi or a true, you know, monk sitting in a temple. But we're talking about for the normal everyday person that wants to be more in control of their emotional stability and the lens, the intake of information that comes in, less pulled out into the chaos of the storm and more centered, so you can have a happier, better quality of life. And that is meditation and mindfulness by any means necessary, the way that works for you, without being precious, being kind. Thank you.
So, Gail, I think we have just the last 2 questions, then we can close the session as we've already exceeded the time. So I'll just read out the question for you.
Yes.
So do you have a suggestion for a calming meditative music or a soundtrack that can help us put us in a calm state of mind for 15 to 20 minutes meditation at the end of the day?
That's a lovely question. I mean, really, you don't want music to be too busy. I don't want you to establish rules of, oh no, I can't listen to music again, you know, do whatever you need to do. But silence is best for meditation. There are some things, however, I mean, if you had a mantra, a repetitive mantra on in the background or something like that, your meditation will take on, that will be your meditation. So that's a specific thing, and someone else is doing mantra repetition in the background for you. Therefore, you're not doing your eye of the storm. So if you're trying to do an eye of the storm or something that you want to do, if you've got music with some words or some kind of form to it, you're going to be in between the two. You're going to be pulled between 2 different sources of theory. So keep it pure. Whatever you decide to do, just do that. However, I have been to some sound baths, you know, where they're playing gongs and you have the vibration in the room. Not very practical if you don't have your own gong at home, but you can, on YouTube, search for some resonant frequencies, specific frequencies, they say, for anxiety or fear, and it just plays a resonant vibration continually in the background for, say, 30 minutes. That might be nice. But always consider silence as well. There's no right or wrong. It's just do it in what way works for you.
Thank you, Gail. And I think for the last question, Khyati is very keen to ask you this question personally. So she has requested to switch her audio on. So we'll allow her to do that. And I think after that, we can close the Q&A session. So Khyati,
Sure.
would you like to unmute and ask the question to Gail?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
Yes,
we
I
can.
can.
Hi, Gail. Thanks a lot for this wonderful session.
Thank you.
My question is, now work from home is a new normal. We all
Yes.
are working from home, because of which the segregation of time between the household work, between the office work, spending time with kids, this all is lined up.
Yes.
unlike how we used to have time in office from 10 to 6. So
Yes.
obviously we will have different mood swings, different mindset, depending upon how our conversation has gone in the earlier frame of mind. Is there
Yes.
any way we can practice the technique of mindfulness so that when we are switching over our role from a parent to a office person to a normal family person, so that the calmness continues throughout the day?
That's a really nice question and relevant to so many of us. You're right, we've lost the kind of clear demarcation between start of work day, end of work day, this is kids' time, etc. And I got that situation. I've been in that situation too with kids at home and homeschooling, etc. To be honest, to have a seamless day, I would first say on those more rough days, on those more emotional days or heavy or intense days, the higher the self-maintenance, the higher the self-care. And you know how they say, like on these health and safety videos on the airplanes, put your own oxygen mask on before you put your kids on or something like that. I mean, I hate saying that, but your kids are going to be all right. On an intense day at home, for example, kids are needy or they're demanding, something's not right, there's problems, maybe sibling problems, something like that. You need to put yourself first. You need to remove yourself from a room if there's particular chaos in a room and take your time out. So the higher the intensity of the day, the higher the self-maintenance. And do not feel bad about that, because what you're actually doing is helping your kids and everyone around you, because you are the best example you can be when you're in a calm, still place and at the eye of the storm, and you're actually showing your kids how to cope in those situations, because they're going to mimic what they see around them. So again, there's no specific mindfulness exercise. One of what we've done today is fine. In situations where you have everyone right in front of you and you're interfacing immediately, I would just, and you're going from kids to a work call, I would literally just take 3 minutes out, however much time you have. And I understand that sometimes we don't have interim time. We're running from one task to another if we're juggling work and things like that. Just take 3, 5, 10 minutes out to breathe and become aware of your breath, or take a mindfulness exercise. Nothing specific, but do that, because it's a recalibration. There's nothing more important in this life, and I say this often, but than your relationship with you and you. And when I say you with a capital Y, I mean your larger, higher self. Okay, and if you don't take time to check in with that, you're going to forget that you're infinite consciousness, and you're going to start identifying with, I'm a stressed out person with XYZ, I'm not happy, I don't have this, oh God, we're in a lot of bad trouble at the moment in this world, and you'll start identifying with the storm around you, and you'll get caught up with it, and there'll be all these kind of secondary effects. I mean, we know this already. Try and keep yourself at the center of the storm at all times. If you feel yourself coming out and getting caught up in the drama, self-dialogue, say, it's okay, I see what I've done, bam, I've got caught up in the storm, I need to drag myself off right now, because my relationship with myself is the most important thing, because I've got to run work and family and myself right now, so I'm going to pull myself away. It's just remembering to pull yourself up and pull yourself away, pull yourself inward. Is that helpful?
Yes, it is. It is. Thank you.
Great, thank you. That was a lovely question.
Thank you so much, Gail. I think we had an excellent session with you today, very unique, very refreshing. And I'm now going to ask my colleague Neha just to share the vote of thanks and to share a few words. Thank you, Gail. Okay. Over to you, Neha.
Thank you, Sapna. We would like to thank Gail Thomas for such a refreshing session, which is so relevant and useful in this current situation. Meditation can transform human life for the better, and it helps to get rid of stress and anxiety and overcome depression. I'm sure that the insight and practices shared by Gail will help our participants, and they will practice the meditation exercises which we have learned today. IFCCI in association providing online mindfulness meditation courses for individual and corporates. So please reach out to us for further details. And I'd like to thank everyone and have a great day and a great weekend. Thank you so much, Gail.
Yeah. Thank you everybody for joining. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much.